So I saw a post on Reddit recently where this guy gave out 3 really great tips that I believe can be helpful if you're a guy that maybe doesn't have a big social circle or has had a hard time going out there and getting women. One of which, at the very end, I very much want to go into because it helped me immensely in terms of getting women to approach me out there when I'm out at clubs and stuff like that. And this guy, by the way, he's autistic, but this is not an autistic specific post because I think these are tips that can actually work for any guy that may be struggling initially. So, here are the 3 tips that he gives. The first one, he says, you need to get a decent circle of friends. He says, you know what I call a night out when I go home alone? Effing sick night out. Enjoying in real life social time with friends should just be a standard part of your life. They give you social proof, they pick you up when you're feeling low, and they loan you a few bucks when you're caught short. 10-10, no notes. So I would highly recommend that for any guy, is that part of the reason you're having trouble is because you're not getting yourself out there and meeting people. And if you're able to get together a circle of friends that you get really, really close to, then they can become your key guys that you can go out with when you do stuff. And also, they're the ones that'll hype you up and say, hey man, you can do that, or go ahead and talk to this girl, we got your back. And it'll just make you feel better all around, because if you're just by yourself, and you're talking to like nobody whatsoever, you already feel like a lame-o for not being able to get girls to come around you. But now, like, no dudes, no close friends either. Like, we want to start getting you into a space where you have better self-esteem. And that starts with you being able to actually go out there and just meet people to be friends with, you know? So whether you're in school, whether you got a job, whatever, you need to put yourself into situations where you can meet people that you can connect with and then get really close to by spending time with them just on a friendship level. I'm talking guys specifically. You can try to get women friends, but realistically, if that happens, you're probably trying to date them. So really try to go out there and get guy friends. And I know as a guy, it can be very tough to motivate yourself to want to do that, especially if you're in a situation where maybe you grew up around a lot of women or most of your friends are women. The idea of trying to become friends with guys, it can seem very jarring and unnerving at times, but that's the circle you want to have, because when you try to go out there then to talk to women, you'll have people to bounce ideas off of, or you can come back to them and say, hey, I tried this situation with a girl, but it didn't go right. Could you give me some pointers, all right? So collect that friend circle. Secondly, he says, go out to where people socialize with your group of friends. A lot. It took me like 3 years of straight partying most nights of the week before I lost my virginity. But I could have lost it way sooner if I didn't do everything possible to ignore the very obvious fact that a girl was into me. Autism. But eventually, I just went out so much that eventually a girl was direct enough to literally say, would you like to hook up with me now? If you go out enough, hooking up will just happen at you at some point. Even if I'm wrong, worst case scenario, you spend loads of sick time with your friends. So yeah, when you're with your friends, you want to make sure that, if they're going to a party, you go to the party. I was fortunate when I moved to California that I had a college friend that we ended up living in the same apartment together, and he happened to be messing with a group of people that were going out and filming stuff all the time and doing stuff in Hollywood. And because we had a really big apartment at the time, people would come back he would bring people back to our place to have these like massive apartment parties. And this went on for like a good year and a half. So during that year and a half time, I was able to have people regularly coming to me, which is great, because as an introvert, me trying to get out, it wasn't always the thing I wanted to do. But people come into my place, I'm like, I'm already here at home. If I have a bad time, I can just go to my room. Fantastic. But that did bring along with it a bevy of women every single weekend into my apartment, to where at some point I was able to start flirting with some of them, connecting with some of them, and doing other things with some of them. But that's because at that point they were running into my space. And so you might not be a guy that has, parties at your apartment every single weekend, but you may have friends that are like, hey, I want to go out and do this. We're going to go to this club. We're going to this girl's house for a birthday party. Come to my family's place for the holidays. And you may be feeling like you want to turn some of that stuff down, especially if you're an introvert, but no, accept some of those offers, because as you put yourself out there more, you're going to start either A, having more and more opportunities to meet new women, or more importantly, if you run in the similar circles as the guys that you're with, they start bringing the same kind of girls around. After that third or fourth time, you're going to start seeing some of the girls that are the same, and they can start thinking, hey, who's this guy? Like, I want to talk to him more. Hey, what's going on with him? And they start getting a vibe with you. And then they'll show up at some place where the only guy that they really know is you. And because you're already connected with them, you're able to now connect with them on a whole deeper level than the other guys that are new stimuli to her at these other events and stuff like that, And so, yeah, you put yourself out there enough. I promise you guys, especially you guys that are trying to actively lose your virginity or don't get a lot of hookups, if you were just repetitively going out on a consistent basis eventually, like this guy said, you're going to run into it. And this doesn't mean you have to party every single weekend. You may be a guy that only likes to go to like lounges or go to house parties or whatever, and you do it like maybe once or twice a month. Fine. Join classes or networking groups, or get into hobbies that have other people there, like your kickballs or your various sports and stuff that are just kind of like, not really like serious leagues, but just like things people are doing just to gather and have a good time. But yeah, put yourself out there enough in front of enough women, because a lot of you guys are having trouble simply because you're not putting yourself in front of enough women or giving yourself enough opportunities to allow that to happen. As you do that, by default, you're going to meet more women. And by default, inevitably, some of them might start to feel things for you if you spend enough time talking to them in those spaces, And then the third one, and this is one that you guys all need to do, especially if you have trouble at clubs, because this is how I squashed having issues at clubs. And he says, learn to dance. How introverted/autistic are you? I was so introverted and autistic that I chose to go onto a nightclub dance floor, having never danced a step in my life. And I just start moving because it was too loud to talk to my friends. And LOL, if you thought I could talk to women, I'd rather learn to dance in public by myself than try and talk to people. To say I got laid being able to dance is an understatement. I'd say it was a cheat code, but then I forgot anything requiring hundreds of hours of practice isn't exactly a cheat. But dang it, that return on investment. Now, here's how I came about this. So in my middle school days, aside from being introverted, I was very shy. It was hard for me to just go up to people and introduce myself. But what would happen is once a month, there'd be a weekend or like a Friday or Saturday out of the month where we'd have a school dance, Now, I grew up on Michael Jackson and MC Hammer and a bunch of other various dancers, and I would be at home as my little 10-year-old, 11-year-old self, like learning the dance moves. I learned how to moonwalk as a kid. I learned how to do all these other various dances because I just like the thrill of dancing. I like music a whole lot, right? So when I get to middle school and these dances are happening, I'm at the dances. And again, I'm not approaching anybody because I'm like, if I don't know you during the school hours, I don't assume you want to talk to me outside of school hours, right? But we're at a school dance, and the first time I went, the music was playing, and I'm looking around at everybody, and everybody in the room was shy because it's middle school, we're all like nervous as heck, and everybody's like, I don't want to make a fool of myself, blah, 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 blah. Now, the advantage of being introverted is that I do not care. I'm going to do the thing I want to do, when I want to do it, whether people like it or not. I have no shame. If somebody wants to make fun of me, well, I was already getting bullied in 6th grade. So at that point, if anybody made fun of me, it would just be an add-on, but it wasn't going to like change what I wanted to do, which was get my boogie on. So the music came on, everybody's standing around just kind of to themselves, and I just start dancing. Like I'm like doing all the moves I know how to do. Like it's, what? I'm just going to show you an example of the kind of dancing that I'm talking about.
I get the money, yeah, that's great. I get the honeys, yeah, that's great. I get the power, yeah, that's great. Why you looking sour? Yeah, that's great. I pull up in the Benz, yeah, that's great. I be stacking the ends, yeah, that's great. Got my drip in the club, yeah, that's great. Ladies showing me love, yeah, that's great. They know I'm a star, yeah, that's great. Got your girl in my car, yeah, that's great. Got her up on the window while I'm banging the walls, yeah, that's great. I pull up in your town, yeah, that's great. I'm the hottest around, yeah, that's great. And I got a high SMV, I be shutting it down, yeah, that's great. Stop the cap.
Pretty good, right? So I would do those kind of moves on the dance floor at my school, and next thing I know, I got crowds around me watching me as I'm doing all these moves here and there, and then next thing I know, the girls, keep on, I'm in 6th grade, right? We're all shy and nervous. The girls start coming up to me and now are trying to dance with me. And I always had a problem just in general in middle school and high school with the idea that like, as a guy, in order to dance, I'm supposed to go up to a girl and basically start humping her back as a means of dancing. I was always like, but consent. What if they don't want me to do that? I'm going to walk behind some random girl and just start humping her and she's going to be cool with that? Like I was very weirded out by that prospect, right? But I found that by knowing how to be a good solo dancer, the women would come up to me, grab my hand, turn themselves around, and start freaking me without me having to approach them at all. So it behooves you guys to learn how to dance for no other reason than that you will be seen as the guy in these clubs that is brave enough to put himself out there on the dance floor and risk potentially being embarrassed to be able to show off that he's having a good time. And most women, they're not gonna judge you on whether or not you actually have good dance moves. They're judging you based on this guy is ambitious and he's not embarrassed about himself and he's just willing to just go out there and put it on the dance floor. And that guy seems like a lot of fun versus these other dudes that, they're standing around trying to look cool and be all suave and stuff, but in the long run, women want guys that they can have a good time with. And also of note, this whole thing called peacocking, like in the animal kingdom, how animals will do certain movements to, attract the female mate. Well, dancing is your way to do that. If you know how to do some legitimate dance moves, women will equate that with, if he knows how to move on the dance floor, he probably knows how to move in the bedroom, and I want to find out both. So it behooves you at any age to learn how to dance. Some of you guys are like, but I don't have rhythm. Rhythm is a thing that can be learned. Learn drum patterns, learn how to move on beat. Watch old they're all old now, but watch old Michael Jackson videos, watch old MC Hammer videos, study Chris Brown, study these guys that have these moves, and then learn one or two of them. You know what actually helped? This is really weird, right? A few years ago, there was a game that came out called the Michael Jackson Experience for the Wii and the PlayStation, where basically, I guess his estate put out this game where you could dance the moves of Michael Jackson. And so in the game, he's showing you the moves, and then you got to do the moves to the beat as the screen reads it and stuff, right? Well, I found that doing those moves in the game reinvigorated all the moves I knew how to do. And I started doing those moves at dance clubs, and people were like, oh my God, that's crazy. Now, obviously, Michael's a little older. For you newer generation people, I'm sure there's new people that are dancing. But the point is, whatever generation you're in, learn some dance moves from these well-respected, highly regarded dance artists, your Ushers, your Chris Browns, your Michael Jacksons, your Hammers, all these other people, and then go to the dance floor, combine it all together, and just look like you're having a good, fun time. If nothing else, you can try to learn some really old school moves, because people are always like, oh, they're doing the Cabbage Patch, oh, they're doing the Running Man. These are really old moves. But the point is, it's not about you having to be the best dancer in the world. It's about, are you looking like you're having fun? And are these women able to get a read that you're going to be that vibrant guy that she should get with? So yeah, and also, like I said, more importantly though, women will approach you. If you know how to dance well, women are definitely going to try to approach you in these clubs to try to get with you, to feel you up. And then after that, you can then kind of take a break. You can walk over and talk to them. I've had situations where I was dancing by myself in the club, and then some girl comes up to me and we start dancing, and next thing I know, we're making out on the dance floor. That kind of stuff can happen if you know how to dance. So yeah, these 3 tips again: get a decent circle of friends, definitely make sure to go places where your friends are going to socialize, whether it's parties, networking events, etc., classes, hobbies, things. And then also definitely, guys, if you want to make sure that women are going to be coming to you, then definitely learn how to dance. Because as I always say, if she's chasing you, she can't be replacing you. And if you learn how to dance, trust me, women will definitely be chasing you for a good time.
You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man.